On this week's Cats Whiskers TV. What?
What are you doing? That's mine, mate. That's what I'm presenting this week.
Who said?
We agreed. You went up to watch the game, so come on.
No, I'm the presenter. That's how it works.
No, we said this week I'd be presenting because you went to the games. You can give your so-called expert opinion.
Oh, what? Like your expert opinion every week?
They like it, and I tell you what, if I had gloves, I'd drop them right now, son.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Well,
Whoa, this is stupid. This is stupid. But I'm not going to present. You're not going to present.
Well, who's going to present then?
This is Cats Whiskers TV. Coming up on this week's show, we look back at the Scottish weekend. We look towards next weekend, and they talk about Webcasts or something. Anyway, here's Paul Barn with the news.
I'm Paul Barman, this is the news. Some Steelers fans take Orange Tuesday too far. Flyers introduce swear filter to Webcast. Ref Cowan recovers from this weekend's exertions. And that was the news.
Okay, we're going to start by talking about the weekend just gone, which was a fabulous weekend for the Panthers. Obviously, Jono, guest this week.
There's something very strange about this.
I don't feel right, do you?
No, I think it's better.
Oh, well, there you go. I'll take that. Obviously, you went up there last weekend.
I did.
Tell us a little bit about it then.
We won lots of games.
Thank you very much.
Deep inside. This is what we're having for.
That's why you're usually the presenter. Now, go on.
So we started with Dundee first, Friday night. It turned out that was actually probably the toughest game of the trip because 4-1 victory. We did dominate. I mean, the first period, I think we outshot them 20-8 or something daft like that. And it was still 0-0 at the end of the first. And I think that was all down to Riopel in the Dundee net, who was outstanding. He should have got their man of the match, to be fair. I don't know how he didn't get it. But, we kept persevering. And second period, we came out and we finally got the goal. I think Bruce Graham scored the opener. No, it wasn't. Or was it Benedict? We scored the opener anyway. And
in depth as always.
And after the first, quickly followed the second. Josh Wood then got a really lovely third. He took it really, really well. And then Dundee came back with one on the power play. And then it was a bit squeaky bum time for the rest of the game until Kelsey Wilson scored a lovely goal with about just over a minute left. I think Riopel was actually looking to get off as they broke. Went back in his net. Matthew Myers found Wilson. He just lovely move and put it in the net. It was a really, really good win, good performance, good way to start off the weekend.
Well, that's what we sort of mentioned on the previous show, wasn't it? To try and get a good start to the weekend, and no better than a win.
No, I mean I've only seen the highlights or 20 minutes of them. It's a good watch. But the vast majority of that 20 minutes is us attacking, and came away with the points. Slightly troubling at the end, but because when you got 3 games like that, you want to try and save something. You want to try and get the games in the bag early on. But good start.
Yeah. So obviously Fife was next on the Saturday. We talked about this in last week's show that maybe this might be a difficult place because obviously could be maybe a dodgy result there because obviously the atmosphere there is amazing. And I can remember talking to you and saying it was just the same on Saturday night just gone.
It was phenomenal. The atmosphere was brilliant, and the first period was some of the best hockey I've seen all season. It was really, really open, the first period. We finished it 3-2 up, but Fife looked dangerous every time they went forward. They were quick. Their transition play was really, really good. They obviously had a very loud, very vocal crowd behind them, and I believe the
we'll come to that in a minute when I speak to Paul. But go on, carry on.
So after the first period, it really was a close game. Then in the second period, Panthers just did what they've done so many times this season, just went straight through the gears and absolutely blew Fife away. Yeah. Took the crowd out of the game, and it was easy from there on in. However, I will say the fifth goal scored by Ling probably shouldn't have counted, because I felt he kicked it in. Now, originally they gave it to Benedict. Right. And me and Andy Haywood, who we'll hear from later, we were discussing it, and we said, well, if Benedict's got it, fair enough. He obviously thinks Ling didn't touch it. However, the goal was then changed to Ling later on, and he quite clearly made a kicking motion towards the puck, and it went in. So, and the Fife fans were quite rightly annoyed. I mean, it was 4-2 at this point. That made it 5-2. So that probably finished the game for them.
I was going to say, do you think that made a difference to the actual end result, though? If that goal had been cancelled, do you reckon maybe Fife would have got back in the game a little bit more, or the fact that it was allowed just totally, like you say, just totally wiped Fife out of the game?
You never know, do you? Because if they'd have got a goal back and made it 4-3, you've probably got a different game on your hands. In all honesty, hand on heart, probably not. No. But sport, you never know what will happen. But it was very interesting after that goal went in. Brian Pitton skated to the bench and had a word with Blair Daly, and I reckon he was telling him to get ready. And then the six went in, and he was off. He was straight off. Yeah.
Well, obviously, let's get back to the atmosphere at Fife. You watched the game through the medium of internet. What do you have to say about the atmosphere?
I'm just disappointed he couldn't remember all the scorers in order. But yeah, I mean, the atmosphere sounded absolutely great. I mean, their webcast, it hasn't got any, I think it's only about the second time they've done it. It hasn't got any commentators on. But it more than makes up for that by the fact that you can hear the crowd. It's not a family sport up there, is it?
Well, maybe just the odd choice word here and there.
Well, there can't have been any child's bikes anywhere near it, that's all I know. But
they're all outside.
I'm sure they should be after that, I tell you. But, I mean, especially, because the camera's right behind the penalty benches, obviously, and there was one point where Lepine and Ling were both in the box and were entertaining the crowd. And but, at the end, Cowan, the referee, I use the term loosely. Well, there were so many voices. You could all tell they were an abuse at him, but you couldn't work out what it was because it was all just one massive sound. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he slept quite nicely at night anyway. So obviously that meant that the Panthers had taken 4 points from the two games. Third and finally, it was the Edinburgh Capitals. Obviously, they came off a fantastic result against the Sheffield Steelers, which Jono is extremely happy about. So, again, 2 games in 2 nights, very good performances from the Panthers, but maybe a little bit of tiredness. Edinburgh come off a fantastic result. Boyd, it could have been a bit of a banana skin, as we like to say on the show.
It could have been, and it very nearly was. Edinburgh, well...
Let's start with the Panthers.
Let's start with the Panthers. Yeah, great. And that's probably it is what won us the game. 2 goals by 2 minutes 5 seconds. That won us the game. Because then Edinburgh were always playing catch up. However, following the 2 goals for the next half an hour, 35 minutes of the game, Edinburgh were on top, and they got one back, a great power play strike, and then. They were just coming at us. They outshot us in the first period. They were on top for most of the second, and it was nerve-wracking. I was actually sat there thinking this could all go horribly wrong in this game. And then we get a power play opportunity of our own, and we take advantage. Jonathan Weaver with an absolutely beautiful strike straight into the top corner. and then Matt Francis made it 4-1, and from there there was only one winner. We again won the game. We took control of the game back. Third period was a bit of a coast, and 6-1 we won the game. 6 points from the weekend. Absolutely fantastic team performance throughout the whole weekend. They really did do us proud.
I mean, last week we talked about obviously the games, and we sort of said maybe 4 points we would have taken that. So to get 6 points from the weekend, we can't really ask for much more, can we?
I'm delighted, can't you tell?
I thought your face looked a little bit different, to be honest.
Yeah, well, just so people know, delighted. Just delighted. But I mean, yeah, you can't ask for more than 6 points. Again, there were. I thought the refereeing was pretty poor, and the Edinburgh game there was. There was one point where Benedict and I was struggling, if I'm honest, with the webcast because they've got a player called Benedict, we've got a player called Benedict. Yeah. I was getting a bit confused. It happens.
It was Sunday night.
Exactly. Full head of air.
Hey, I'm sat in the middle here, Well, yeah, I can't say much.
Yeah. That's the plot. That's the. Come back to me. Go on.
Edinburgh, Sunday. Benedict.
Yes, I mean the Benedict was side by side with the player, and he's just knocking his stick up to try and put him off the puck, and that was a 2-minute penalty. I think. Ling took a 10-minute right near the last 10 minutes of the game, and I think it was.
That was fully justified. It was a lumberjack slash on the guy's legs, and we were all going, oh, and yeah, you could. He actually got that one right, to be honest.
The only one of the night.
Yeah, but I think the 10-minute was probably frustration. Having that. I mean, what was it? I think over the course of the weekend we were short-handed 19 times and saw off 17 of them. That's quality. That's and that's the sort of stuff. And you talk about that half an hour when Edinburgh were on top. You talk about the goal in Fife that tips again. Those are the things that turn games. And and sometimes they look. I'm sure if that goal had been kicked in against Coventry, the internet would be awash with pictures proving it. Yeah. Now, not that it'll change anything, but these things happen, and it evens out over the course of a season. And sometimes you get the bouncers, and when you do, you just got to be grateful for them.
Definitely. I mean, just a quick word for Kelsey Wilson. Obviously, had a really good weekend, and I've spoken to a lot of people, and they're unsure about has he brought much to the team since he's been in the team. But fantastic for him to get on the score sheet and to really show his worth to the team as well.
He was outstanding all weekend, absolutely outstanding. Every game, played brilliant, and I would say was our player of the weekend. And that's no mean feat, because there is not one of our players who played had a bad game. Any game, they all played very professionally, very well. It was the perfect road trip almost. But Wilson was actually above the rest of them. He scored important goals at important times, but you could see Matthew Myers and David Clark playing with him. He actually brought them into the game. They were playing almost like they were a foot taller, because he was playing on the line with them. Yeah. He just, that line was just superb all weekend, as they all were. There wasn't one. I can't think of one bad performance from all three games. And how long is it since you can say that?
Very true, very true. And just a quick word for the fans that went up there. Obviously, a lot of fans went up, and you hear off the Panthers how much they're grateful for the fan support. But we really do have to look at the fans and say we are the best in the league.
David Ling certainly said so Sunday night.
And if David Ling says it,
it's all right with me. Exactly. Yeah. I will say one thing about Kelsey Wilson. He's got a lovely head of hair, Jono. Just seen him at the signing. A lovely head of hair. Lovely.
On that note, no, I'm stopping it now. I'm stopping it. I'm cutting in.
Well, I did get a word with someone after the game.
I was just going to do that link now, actually. Yeah, I was just going to do that.
Was that a hairdresser?
No, he doesn't need one. Doesn't need one. Well, actually, we managed to catch up with a certain Corey Neilson after the game.
Great weekend, coach.
Thank you.
You've got to be really, really happy with that 6 points from 6 games.
Yeah, the guys committed to basically everything. I thought, even though I don't think we got our feet going very well in the first and a little bit of the second period, we got things done today. Yesterday we were pretty exceptional, and on Friday against Dundee, I thought we ground out and played a real solid game. So three great games, 3 really different structured teams and different buildings. So it was a pretty unique challenge, and we're proud of the guys for their discipline and dedication and just their attention to detail.
Just looking ahead now, so 6 games to go. It's just about keeping the same, playing the same, and hopefully getting those points.
Yep.
All right. Well, take a safe journey back. And
well, hey, you said it. I don't need to comment on that.
Thanks for your time.
All right, no problem.
I'm David Alexander Beauregard. You're watching Cat Whiskers TV.
So they were the thoughts of Corey Neilson there. Also, just a quick word for the Scottish fans as well.
Yeah, it was really, really nice to go on a trip where you don't get the usual vitriol, hatred and usual rubbish, quite frankly, that follows Panthers. And our fans can be just... And our fans can be just as bad the other way. I'm not taking anything away from that either. But
so sitting on the fence?
No, I'm not sitting on the fence at all. But we do, as we've known since we've been top, we've been getting quite a lot of rubbish directed at us, and our fans do the same to other clubs. As we know, any read of the Cage forum at any time would show that. But it was nice to talk to fan bases, and I include all Dundee fans, Edinburgh fans, Fife fans in this, knowledgeable about the game, didn't have that usual chip on their shoulder because we were top of the league, and were quite open about it. It was nice to hear opposing fans say you're a great team and you're a pleasure to watch, and you don't get that very often, and it sort of makes you step back a bit, because it's wow, it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear that sort of respect, and then they get that respect back in return.
Well, it works both ways, doesn't it, really, at the end of the day?
I mean, the fan, especially the Edinburgh fans I was speaking to on Sunday, was like, oh, you're going to win this. And I was like, well, hang on a minute, you've just come off a great win against Sheffield, one of the form teams in the league at the moment, and it's not going to be easy, and it wasn't easy. No. As I said, they were on top for large parts of that game. But it's just nice to hear, and it's nice to have that bit of mutual respect. There's not nastiness. Panthers fans stayed and applauded both home teams off. Stayed for the man of the match.
Both home teams.
Sorry, the home team after.
Not bad, that, isn't it? Obviously, it's the alcohol still in his system. That
Yeah. Can I go back to presenting, please?
Just so you know as well, unfortunately, Jono actually broke the light during that little break there because the shine on the top of his head was too much. So he took the anger out on the light. I do apologise if we're a little bit dark.
Yeah.
Anyway,
hang on. Is that a black pot in the kettle I can see there?
Moving on. Anyway, also we caught up with some of the Panthers fans over the weekend. Here's what they had to say.
Yeah, I thought Panthers played really well tonight. It was a really close first period. Their transition play is very quick, and at times I thought they were going to catch us out a bit more than they did. But what a second period. 5-0 second period, we absolutely blitzed them. Kelsey Wilson got a good scrap, and I feel for Muir. I don't know his first name, but I feel for Muir because he's going to have some bruises on that face after in the morning. But that seemed to spark us, and we really clicked, and some of the goals were brilliant. Bit of a contentious one with David Ling. Did he kick it in? Did he keep the goalie? I don't know. But the third period we carried on where it was. Greener started in goal. It was always comfortable for the third period. And to be fair to him, everything that he came at him, he saved well. And we scored a couple of nice goals in the third period as well. Really, really solid performance, and probably not used as much energy as I thought we might have to tonight. So hopefully plenty tomorrow.
One of the great first 2 games from the weekend road trip to Scotland, and Dundee last night. Much tighter game than we probably expected in terms of the score, and I expected an even tighter game tonight in Fife, but we were just unstoppable. It was crazy. Couple of good fights. Kelsey Wilson absolutely battered his opponent. It was just great fun, just really, really good.
It was very good. I mean, great goals all around. I mean, Bruce Graham obviously getting man of the match. I think Kelsey Wilson could have got man of the match again tonight's game, but after having it yesterday, I thought, fair enough, Bruce Graham, what a game. Ling as well, thought he had a good game. I mean, a lot of people have been criticising him lately, but I think he's really shown that he's true class.
And the last goal, straight out of the penalty box, round the keeper, narrow angle, just sent the fans home in heaven.
Yeah, I thought we played really well. I mean, we started out superbly. 2 goals in probably 4 minutes, and they were really well worked goals. Caps came back well. They played some really good hockey, and they scored a beauty of a power play goal, really well worked. We didn't seem to panic, but we got slow and we looked tired. And the Caps were the best team by far for the remainder of the first period and the majority of the second. John Weaver's goal though, it was absolutely stunning, and as soon as that went in, the tide turned again, and we were put back onto the ascendancy, and to go in 4-1 after 2 periods was such a big boost, because to be fair, although we probably didn't deserve to go in losing, we probably didn't deserve to go in 4-1 after 2 periods. The third period was much the same. We were cautious of the Caps coming in and attacking like they needed to get a win. And then we scored some really good goals. I mean, the last goal by Matt Myers, Kelsey Wilson was absolutely superb. Came straight out the penalty box, chased down the puck, made the hit, got the puck, played it in front of Matt Myers alone, and he slotted it home. And it was just stuff like that we were really good at this whole weekend. Just some absolutely sublime finishes, some great goals, some brilliant skill, and players who we've not seen the silky moves from before. People like Kelsey Wilson, we've seen what he can do. And he's not known for being the quick hands and the silky moves and the great passing, but he's shown tonight that he can do it. And we've got one hell of a team this year. It's been really, really good. I mean, this weekend we've scored 20 goals in 3 games and conceded 4. I mean, it just shows that not one player's had an off night all period, every period. And it's going to be quite tough next year for the coach to emulate a team like this, because they've been near on perfect all year, to be fair. They've been really, really good. Superb weekend.
So that were the views of some of the Panthers fans for the weekend. Just a quick one, just to wrap it all up, obviously, regarding the weekend's entertainment, shall we call it. A little bit of a fisticuffs with a certain Wilson and Muir. Was it a fight, or was it a backhanded... backhanded...
Don't worry, I understood what
Thank you. You understand. You know what I mean.
I'm not calling it whatever. I'll call it a fight. I'm not calling it that. It was. I mean, I think we're going to hear from the fight correspondent in a minute. But
we are.
Yeah.
Just wait. You're gonna hear from him soon.
Yeah. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, you wouldn't call it an even contest, but fair play to Muir. He was taking some punishment, but he didn't go to the floor. I'm talking when you're facing Slasher Wilson like that, you know, I mean, I've seen people, you know, cutting off or worse just by touching him, but you know, but he stood up to him.
Got to pray for those people, though, haven't you? Really, let's be honest. The people that get slashed anyway. Good fight, wasn't it?
If you, Sheffield fans, if you want to complain to him, not me. That wasn't me this time. That was him. Aaron Lord. There you go.
Yeah. Fair play to me standing up, like Paul says, but Wilson handed out a bit of a battering, didn't he? Really.
It was a beating, and it was brutal actually to watch. I mean, it was the other side of the rink as I was looking at it, but we could feel every punch as it went in. It was like, oh. But to Muir's credit, he stayed on his feet, and as the fight went on, he actually threw a couple himself. So, I've got nothing but respect for the lad to do that, for especially against a renowned fighter like Wilson. But it was a clear Wilson win. But he didn't get the takedown. Muir stayed on his feet, and credit to him for that.
Well, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. It is the view of our fight correspondent.
Good fight. I thought Wilson won. He was throwing some heavy bombs, but fair play to Muir because he stayed on his feet. So next time, both you pop your lids.
That feels better. I feel far more at ease now, more comfortable, more like I belong.
I thought he did all right though, that new presenter that we had for a little bit. He didn't do too bad, did he?
He was all right. No Jono Bullard though, was he?
Moving on.
Moving on. Anyway, we're going to take a look at Webcasts. Obviously, there was a couple this week. The Fife one was free, which pleased an awful lot of people, no more than yourself. And of course, there was also the Caps TV webcast as well. But generally, Sheffield have now started their own webcast. You've obviously got commentary. You've got Belfast with the comedy commentators, as we like to call them. So they're becoming more and more popular. However, when we did the Gary Moran interview, he was quite vehemently stressed that they wouldn't be a webcast at the NIC anytime soon. What's your view of them?
Well, I mean, I bought the Caps one. I bought the Giants one for the Challenge Cup. I've bought a Coventry one as well. Would it stop me going to a game? No, it wouldn't, because I'd rather watch it live. With all due respect, some of the commentaries aren't great. But I can see why some clubs do it. When you talk about a Panthers point of view, obviously, if you watch the Gary Moran interview, he's very, it's a no-go area for us at the moment. And the main reason that is bums on seats. When you get a full house every week, then we'll look at it. I can understand that, but then I can also see it from an away fan's point of view, that it's an option for them to purchase it so they can see their team. So is it more for the away fans than it is for the home fans? Which I would say yes, it is. They're good. They serve a purpose. They could be better. And me personally, it wouldn't stop me going and paying another £8, £7, whatever it works out, to go and watch that live. And I'd even pay the money if I was going over to Belfast. I'd rather, if I could afford it, to go over to Belfast and pay the money.
Well, you make a good point there about affording it, because obviously I bought the Coventry one recently, because that cost £8 as opposed to 16 quid for a ticket, 15 quid for petrol, £3 to park. It's a big saving. No, it's absolutely right. It's not the same as going to the game, but I probably wouldn't be able to afford to go to the game anyway. So they're still getting £8 out of me rather than nothing. But we were talking to Scooby at Hull when we was down there earlier in the season, and they'd got, I think, what was it, 1,000?
They got 1,000 for that Panthers game just before Christmas, yeah.
And he was saying what an important revenue stream it was for them. And for a club like that, they really need that money coming in.
Yeah, I mean, at the risk of repeating what I said last week, because I know you were moaning about the fact I changed the subject, but it was worth saying then, it's worth saying now. That somewhere like Hull, because Hull is geographically a long distance away from the rest of the teams that it's going to be playing most often. Thank you. There is that difference means that fewer people will travel. So I mean, if we'd only got, we were lucky at the weekend. We got a large fan base. We took a lot of people because it was 3 games. Now some people only took in 2, but there won't have been when you're travelling to one game. You live in Dundee, and you've got a game in Hull probably on a Sunday night. That's a long way to travel there and back, and if you've got a family, you're going to spend £8 that you wouldn't instead of you wouldn't spend all that money to travel down. So essentially you've not lost the however much it is for 4 tickets. You've gained that £8.
Yeah. Well, I asked this afternoon as we record this, for your comments on Twitter, and we got literally lots. So there's no way I can read them all out, unfortunately. Interesting one from Mark Watling here. He says, I think Panthers will have little choice. Every other club is heading that way. I never miss a home game for a webcast. I don't think Panthers will. Certainly not in the foreseeable future.
No, I can't see it under this regime, shall we say. Who knows, in a few years' time, 3, however many years that is, if these other teams improve their own versions and it gets stronger and stronger and people, more people are asking for it, then they might have to. You never know.
And I think they'll be out to keeping a close eye on Sheffield.
Yeah.
Because not wanting to harp on about geography again, but Sheffield are in a similar position to us, middle of the league, and they're the only team of our sort of size in that sort of area. I mean, the only other one is Belfast, but obviously you've got the expense of travelling over there. So somewhere like Sheffield, it's in the middle, I think. And it's interesting, the Sheffield are doing what I think Hull do as well, which there's like an exclusion zone. I think it's a 20-mile exclusion zone round Sheffield, which can't be a bad idea, if we're honest, in general. But, where you won't be able to see the game. It's only sort of outside of that. But I think, I think they will be watching what happens in Sheffield very carefully.
Well, on that point, actually, we've got Kev Stableford. He put, great for clubs and fans, an X-mile distance limit maybe to help further afield fans who can't get there every home game, and exactly the point you made. And I think that's what Sheffield have done. Hull, I think most people in Hull are on the same internet service provider, so that's why they can do their exclusion.
I think it's more about making sure the home fans still go to games than providing a service for the home fans who live a long way away. But yeah, that's right.
James Stratton, he says, great idea, but he feels £8 is a bit much. £8? I don't think £8 that much money for the service.
It's been proved that it works. Everywhere charges £8. So you're not going to suddenly come in and go, yeah, we'll undercut them, because there's no other you're not undercutting a competitor. There's no other market. But I think what they've got to do is, if they are, I'm going to go on a rant here. If they are going to charge, funny. If they are going to charge, then they've got to ensure where they can, and I understand there are difficulties, but they've got to ensure that the quality is there. Because, we were talking earlier about, there was one earlier in the season, I think we, thanks to Aaron's trickery, we managed to lampoon it. What's he doing? What's he doing? He's not,
You'll have to watch the show to find out.
Why? I'm on it.
Sorry about that.
I'm not very good at keeping track of what I'm saying at the best.
Lampoon it was your last one.
Yeah. Was it?
Yeah. I'm not going to lampoon it.
Ask him a question and come back to me.
Phil Littlewood.
We did that on purpose. So stop the run. That's what it was. Gave her a little bit of a comeback.
I'll tell you what, £5 well spent that was. Phil Littlewood, he sent quite a few tweets through. He doesn't like the quality, just like you mentioned actually about the quality being right.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah, go ahead.
And it's like he said, goals were going on about Edinburgh looked like it was filmed on a calculator, which I think is a bit harsh, and was not even centrised. But there is a reason for that. He's put goals were missed. Belfast camera guy, he can't follow the puck. But he finishes. He finishes off. Still buy them though, because I'm totally minted and love hockey. So they love you, then, Phil. They love you.
Well, if you're minted, go and give them some money and help them out. Then make it better.
Doug Lafferty from Brayhead, who we know watches the show, and I think he's made this point before to Chris Ellis about he thinks an EIHL run season pass or one game purchase, so that actually the league run it, and then all the money's pulled into the league, which isn't a bad idea, I don't think. But then it's getting everybody to agree and work together.
You're going down. That's like another level of the elite leagues media coverage at the end of the day. You know, these clubs, and let's be honest, they're not they're not ITV or BBC standard, but at least these clubs are giving it a go, and they are offering that service, and they're not forcing you to have it. If you don't really like watching it, you don't have to pay the money. And more and more teams, like we said, are doing it. So let's give it a few seasons and see whether that actually it can improve, and it will improve. I'm sure it will improve. In anything like that, there's a few teething problems and stuff which we've experienced in this programme, but unfortunately we've still got you two on it, so what can you do about it? But no, give him a bit of time, and I'm sure it'll improve over time.
Final word to Phil Cooper. He sent a tweet through because he's currently living in New Zealand, so he would love a Panthers webcast.
He probably wants them on at a different time as well.
But he does make the point. It'd be a big plus for him for those who can't attend. He currently in New Zealand. I can't watch my beloved Panthers. And he said Hull was very good, and I think I've heard that feedback as well from many people who watch the Hull. We twice as well. There we go. We're pulling them in. We're pulling them in. And he says much better than the DVD with commentary. It will because it's live, I suppose. Live, But for people like Phil who are in New Zealand, we know there's lots of Panthers fans around the world. It'd be good for them. I mean, I can totally understand where Gary Moran is coming from with the point that he makes. He wants bums on seats, and that's totally fair enough. But is it worth experimenting with, do you reckon, with, say, a game against Sheffield that's sold out?
It's got to be worth trying, because, obviously he's got his views of what he thinks is going to happen. He might be surprised. It's a game that's sold out, like Saturdays is, and he could. The varsity game was actually streamed live as well, so talk to them, talk to, like Hull I think is run by the local college, by students from that, so the expertise is there, utilise it, which is what we thought we were doing, getting him on, but what's happened tonight? I think that's 1-1.
Who'll win? Let's find out later.
I'm David Alexander Beauregard. You're watching Cat Whiskers TV.
Looking ahead to the weekend now, and obviously a sold-out game against the Steelers on Saturday, and then what's looking like another sold-out game in Hull on Sunday. Start with the Saturday game first. Again, they're all massive games now. There's no point in saying it's massive. Of course, it's massive with the way things are. So Sheffield.
Yeah. I texted you earlier today, didn't I? And I said that I think this Sheffield game, in some way, is bigger than the Belfast weekend. Purely, and I'll explain my reason behind that.
Explain yourself, Aaron.
I will do. Purely because I think if we win against Sheffield, mentally, I think that will give us such an edge going into the Hull game, but more importantly, the Belfast weekend, because I think it means mentally we've done a number on our closest rivals the last two times they were in our barn. It also then just means that one of the biggest games that we've got remaining, we have got 2 points from. So really, that's why I think in one way that is bigger than the Belfast weekend to a certain degree. Now, I don't know about Saturday. There's just something within me that's I don't know, and I don't know whether it's just the fact of we've won so many games on the bounce. You automatically think, well, we're going to trip up somewhere, because you can't, like I said last week, you can't expect to win every game and trounce everybody like we did against Scottish teams, and obviously we wouldn't do that necessarily to Sheffield anyway. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Paul, you're going to actually be making an appearance at this one.
But if anybody wants to pay me not to turn up, then you know where to contact me. I think it's an odd one. I think on one hand we've got to have the fire and the drive and excitement that Sheffield will bring because it's Sheffield, because it's the Panthers Sheffield game. It's not the biggest rivalry in Europe. Just saying.
Not close.
No. But by the same token, we can't treat it any different. We've got to go out there and play our own game. Apologies to whoever it was whose idea I was nicking off Facebook earlier, but I can't remember the name. Sorry, but they're right. We've got to play our own game. We've got to keep out the box. We've got to, but we've got to play with an intensity, because Sheffield will come and play with an intensity. Sheffield are almost at the stage, where they've got nothing to lose. It's Panthers, so they'll want to. They'll want to win.
Well, can I just throw something in there? Somebody
depends what it is.
Well, we're now, as it stands, we're 10 points clear of Sheffield. They're not going to win the league.
No, I don't think I said that last week.
Barring some sort of utter miracle, the miracle of miracles, they're not going to win the league. Are they going to be, or will they be as up for the game?
Yes.
Or do you think they'll be a bit deflated?
Yeah.
Do you think they'll be up for it?
Purely, one reason is because of the previous result, just over a week ago. It's the last time we played them in the league. And with what is looking like is going to happen Challenge Cup wise, and then the playoffs afterwards, you don't know who we're going to face in that. You want to be winning that last game. You don't want to be facing them in a Challenge Cup final, talking from their point of view as well. They don't want to be facing us on another loss. And if Braehead managed to get through, they don't want to be going into the playoffs knowing that the last two games that they played against this, they lost. So. Yeah, I think they might be out of the league, but it's also a chance to scupper our chances of them to win the league. And I'm sure if you asked any Sheffield fan, they'd like to do that.
Oh yeah, the fans, of course they want to do that. I'm interested to see which Sheffield team turns up on Saturday. Because I agree that they will and knowing Ryan Finnerty, he will want nothing more than to put a spanner in our league title out, because that's the sort of guy he is. But are the players responding to him? And they've
deep for us. That's really deep. That is.
Because they've not. I mean, they had their chance a couple of weeks ago to really put the cat amongst pigeons in the title race, and they lost to us and then lost to Belfast the next time. That was them out of it pretty much. I'm
gonna stick up slightly, because I think any one of us, as in Belfast, Nottingham, Sheffield, could have happened to any of us, with all due respect, on if Sheffield had played their game on their night and we had a bit of an off night, they could beat us. And then we could travel to Belfast, and if we had an off night and Belfast had played their game, they could beat us. So we could have done that. So I think it's been quite tight throughout the season between those three teams, and earlier on in the season you wouldn't really know who might win it because it's been that tight. To go to the players responding, that's like Paul says, that's quite deep. And the only thing I would say is, if you watch some of the interviews with Ryan Finnerty after the show, after their game, on the Steelers websites and stuff, I think he's questioning that as well to a certain degree, and maybe looking at the results, you might have to go, well, do you know what? Maybe there is something wrong somewhere. So,
Paul,
I think Aaron's right. I think you look at Sheffield, and they are almost coming into this with nothing to lose, and they'll want to lay down markers for what's still to come. But who knows? Who knows what can any team can beat anybody in this league? Hey, on any night. But it is every game's a cup final for me, and it's a real 4-pointer as well.
Right, I think we'll move on to Hull on Sunday on that case. So Hull, as we record this, it seems tickets are very, very limited. So if there are still some available by the time this goes out, you need to ring Hull Arena and get them booked, because it's looking like there'll be none available on the day.
Hull's like really versatile. Yeah. Can it not sort of grow or anything? Is it not,
Some people say it's the most versatile arena.
We've got signs that say it. Signs. Yeah, sign.
A full Hull Arena on Sunday night in a game against the Panthers.
He loves it, really.
He does.
It'll be... well, they don't like us much, as we know. It'll be incredibly raucous crowd in there. There's going to be a huge away following, quite obviously. That we say potential banana skins, but Hull are a dangerous side at home, and I every time I go and watch us in Hull Arena, I don't expect much, because it's the sort of place that can really get on top of you, a bit like Fife can. So it's another one where you would expect us to win on form, but it's not going to be easy.
No, it's in the lap of the gods, isn't it, really? So I think Paul was going to say something, but with how Hull have been playing of recently, they've had a good few results, haven't they? And like we've mentioned on previous weeks, that conference is so tight, and they've still got something to play for. And three odd weeks, it looked like they didn't have anything to play for, really, because they were not dead and buried, but they were low on confidence and didn't really have the results. Few results pick up, and they're back in the sort of title race for their conference. I think out of the two, that's the most difficult one out of the two games, and I say that purely because we play Sheffield so often, and we know their game. We know what to expect of the Steelers, and they know what to expect of us. Hull, yes, you can see their results against other teams that they've played of late, but when was the last time we played them? Things can change, and not that you don't focus on them as much, but it's easy to go there and just maybe slightly be, not fully aware of what they've got and how they're going to go about it. And we might be shocked. They might not be playing the systems that we think they might be playing, and it's like it's going to be a tricky one, that one.
I think we've got to avoid a lack of complacency, and I think we, to an extent this season, we have. I mean, there's been those banana skins in the past where you thought, it looked almost as though the team thought turning up was enough. I think
you can't accuse this season's team of that at all.
I think if we don't win the league, then everybody will point at the Edinburgh game. That Edinburgh game where we lost, but you can point at any of the games that we lost, but I think in a lot of ways that Edinburgh game was I was going to say it was a turning point, but I don't think it quite was, because I think it did help, and it sort of galvanised new word. But the team, and said, hang on, that's what I'm here for. But it made the team think, and going into that Edinburgh game. I mean, one of the things they mentioned on the Caps TV webcast was that Edinburgh are the only team out of that conference to take points off us. at all, you know. And what I was going to say earlier is a little factoid that the student grunted to me earlier. Yeah, he mumbled that we played Hull in Hull last year on exactly the same date and won. Which means nothing.
Well, actually going back to what you say about the Edinburgh game, that Edinburgh game, I feel, if we win the league, I think it will be. I will look back at that game as that was when that gave us the kick up the backside.
Yeah. Well, that's what it did, didn't it? And not saying that we at that stage were cocky or overconfident, but it's a long season, and at points you're going to have these times where you need somebody to put a rocket up your jacksie, and Edinburgh did that. And like Paul says, if we don't win the title, people go, well, that's where you lost it. If we win the title, people might go, do you know what, that's where actually we turned around and went, come on, if we're serious about this, we can't have any more of these slip-ups here.
Well, I was looking when we was travelling back from Scotland yesterday. I was looking at sort of the fixtures and how they fell, and I looked at that Edinburgh game, and since that game we played 27 times and lost 3. Yeah, that now to not win the league, we'll have to lose 3 of the next 6. But yeah, of course it's sport. It can happen, and nothing is set in stone yet. No. But I was just interested looking at that. I thought, let's look at the form since then, and that is. Well, that's the sort of form you want. I'm not going to say the C word. No, you don't say that word.
Okay. I won't say it. But look, let's just say, how many of the other teams would like to be in our position right now?
I would think there's 9 of them below us who would all like to be there. So
you know what I mean, at the end of the day, we are in the best possible position. Well, that's not possible because we could have won the league by now, but you know what I mean, at this precise moment, going into these weekends game and going into the remaining 6 games of the league. At the end of the day, there are 6 games left. Like you say, we would have to lose half of them. I know the history behind Panthers and everything like that, but let's just have that little bit of confidence and belief, because I'm just going to say, do you not think after 46 games that we've played so far that this team actually deserve to have some belief put behind them? And
I don't think there's anyone anyone out there, even the most vitriolic opposition fan, can say we don't deserve it.
Well, there'll be people out there that say that. There'll be plenty out there that say that.
They'll be wrong.
Well, we will see, but there'll be people out there that say we don't deserve it. And like I know Paul said it in the past, if we don't win the league, then we don't deserve it. The table does not lie come the end of the season. And if it happens that we don't win it, I'm going to disagree with myself here, and it means that we haven't deserved to win it. But I think we have, really. So, totally contradicted myself there.
Aaron Lord, a long season left. Aaron Lord in a confused mess. What about you?
You know me, I don't make predictions. I'm not. I still think we've got the harder of the 2 run-ins. We've got that 4-point buffer, but all I will say is, isn't it nice to have a Panthers Sheffield game where the home team are actually still interested in something in March?
Right, you're absolutely right. And also, if we do lose a game this weekend, say we lose 1, we will still go into Belfast at least 2 points clear.
It doesn't change the fact, really, at the end of the day. Belfast is the weekend where it's going to go either way. If we win these 2 games, fantastic. It puts less pressure on ourselves. If we lose 1, like you say, and I can't see us losing both games this weekend, let's say that now. So if we did lose 1, it still means that if we go to Belfast and put on a show, doesn't really matter, does it, to a certain degree? So it doesn't change necessarily the fact of how Belfast weekend is going to work out.
Right, well, I think we will leave it there for this week, gents. So thanks for joining us again. Thanks to the Castle for having us once again. We will be back next week. We will obviously be looking back at the game against Sheffield and the game against Hull over there. And looking forward to a huge weekend in Belfast, where I think we will all be going. Well, you're open to mine.
Fingers crossed, yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah.
We'll be there. Yeah. We'll be there. So until next week, goodbye. Well, after your opening, I bet you're glad that I'm back presenting.
I thought Aaron was better.